This year, like in years past, I'm excited for a partnership with the North American Effie Awards. The Effie Awards honor the most effective marketing efforts of the year, and I will be going behind the scenes with a number of Effie winners from this year's competition.
For all of us, it's about predicting where the consumer is going and getting half of it right.
One of the things we want to do is create ads that don't suck.
Embracing change creates great possibility.
I'm Alan Hart, and this is Marketing Today.
Hey, I'm Ryan Davis, and I work for Overwatch as the Global Marketing Communications Director.
So you won an Effie for Overwatch. Congratulations. Tell me a little bit about the campaign Overwatch.
Absolutely. So the first thing we did was we had to decide what makes our game different than the rest of the games in the category. And so Overwatch is this just amazing different universe. It's this bright and optimistic universe with these larger-than-life characters with really rich and diverse backgrounds. And so we decided to really lean into that. And so that's kind of the first thing that we decided was just what makes us different.
And so tell me, you developed these larger-than-life characters and placed them around the world.
So yeah, one of the things we did is we created these very large, what we call colossal collectibles. So they're 15-foot, larger-than-life versions of some of our characters, and we put them across the globe to sort of signify Overwatch is here, and hopefully draw attention to our characters. And get some earned media and attention across social media, and luckily it worked.
Right. What was the insight behind creating these larger-than-life characters?
We really wanted to try to get a big impression, and with the fragmented media landscape nowadays, you really need to do something that gets above the noise. And so we were just trying to think with our agency partners, what could we do that's inherently Overwatch, and really lean in on the characters and what makes us different, and came up with these larger than life action figures, and just it went from there.
Were there key decisions about that? I mean, in terms of why you picked to do those larger than life characters versus you could do traditional advertising?
Well, we did do plenty of traditional advertising too, and I think that's the thing. It's the overall campaign is very sort of integrated across all different mediums, but we felt like we still needed to do some things that were really going to get attention and sort of what we call stunts, and get some attention that you wouldn't get normally.
So when you took this idea of putting these larger than life characters all around the world, and you were in what cities were you in again?
Yeah, we were in Busan, Korea, Paris, France, and Hollywood, California.
So did you have to convince the upper management team that this was a good idea, or?
Yeah, absolutely. It wasn't easy, but everybody at Blizzard, I think we're all gamers. Everybody's really enthusiastic about doing stuff that we really think is cool and that the players will love. And I think once everybody saw this, they just couldn't not do it. They all really wanted to do it.
So that leap of faith that this was a good idea wasn't that big of a leap?
It was still a big leap. I mean, that's a lot, it wasn't cheap to make, 15-foot tall action figures with, packaging surrounding them. They weighed I can't even remember how much, but it took a crane to put them down on the places they were going, and we had to ship them around the world because we built them all in Los Angeles. So it was a logistical undertaking for sure. So I mean, it wasn't an easy decision to make, but I think everybody felt like this was going to get us, really send off Overwatch's launch in a way that will really get attention and feel right.
So gamers, it's a fairly solitary activity, sitting behind the game, right? Unless you're connected with other people. Right. But you chose to put these experiential statues, if you will, of the characters of the game out into the real world. What drove that?
We really wanted to find a way to break above the noise. And one of the things we kind of learned, we actually learned this on a previous campaign for World of Warcraft, where we did a giant taxi cab in New York City in Times Square with an axe going through it. And we discovered that what ends up getting spread around is the picture, and the picture is worth, so much more online than it is for the actual people that are showing up to the actual experience. So that's really what you're after, is you're trying to get all those people online who can't be there to be a part of it. And usually they're a part of it through the press that show up, or people that just snap a tweet or an Instagram of it. So that's why we chose to do these experiential things, because we found that we really think that they can get above the noise and be something really different. When you're looking through your social media feed and you see a giant colossal collectible, in Paris or in Busan or on Hollywood Boulevard, that'll catch your attention, and so that's why we decided to go that route.
So for Overwatch, did you announce that these characters were going to be there, or did you just put them there and hope that people would discover them and start talking about them?
Yeah, no, the idea was that hopefully people would discover it and we would see what happened from there. I mean, we did invite some influencers and people like that, and just kind of give them a heads up that something was going to be going on down there, but we didn't tell them what. And then so obviously when they went down there, they sort of took it and ran with it. So.
And why the 3 cities?
Yeah. So we wanted to choose, again, so that it felt like it would really get good coverage in social media and in press. We wanted to make sure we picked iconic locations. So we picked Hollywood Boulevard. Obviously Hollywood's cool because there's a Hollywood map in the game. And that one's right in our backyard, so we could get our devs down there and they could see it too, which was really cool. But we worked with our regional offices to decide where they wanted to put theirs. So our regional team in France decided that they wanted to put it in Paris, because they felt like that's a really iconic location for them and would work really well with their audiences. And then the Korean team decided they wanted to do Busan because they had this very big event that they were putting on, and that made sense to put the statue there as like a big sort of anchor point for the whole event that they were doing there.
So when we think about game development, it takes a really long time to bring a game to market. Mm-hmm. When do you start seeding the market that a game is coming?
It can start up very early. And I think with this campaign, we sort of identified these 3 major segments. We identified it as sort of the hardcore, and we identified that there would be these sort of people that are into FPSs and are veterans to the FPS market. And then we also identified, just the more casual gamer that we thought would make, sense to target for this game. So that first audience, where you're really capturing them is like getting them into the beta, trying to give them opportunities to get their hands on it, like events like BlizzCon or PAX East, so that they can start to become evangelists for your brand. And then veterans, we hoped to get them in the open beta. So, because we really felt like as soon as you get players' hands on this game, that they really got behind it. Early testing showed that if a player actually tried Overwatch, their purchase intent went up like significantly. So that was sort of our overall strategy for the campaign, is we got to get their hands on the actual game. Show them, don't tell them. Let them decide if Overwatch is for them, and then get their hands on it and try it out.
Overwatch was your first-person shooter. How did you convince your core hardcore gamer community that knows you that this was something they should try?
I think that the most important thing was, again, that sort of the idea of like, let's show them, not tell them. Let's get their hands on the game. Let's show them these animated shorts of these characters with these rich and diverse backgrounds, and let them decide if they felt like this was a game they wanted to try. But then give them the opportunity with a big open beta and an opportunity to actually try it out for themselves.
So what about the campaign? Was there anything that surprised you going through that process?
So yeah, I think one of the things that surprised me during the campaign was just how much passion the fans really had. So we kind of built out phases for our launch. We identified different segments of players, and in identifying those segments, one of the things we did was just like arm the players themselves, or empower the players themselves to be able to make their own cosplay of the characters very early on. So some of the really hardcore fans were able to start making cosplay like early on of our characters, even before the game was out of closed beta. And we would see them show up at various events and things like that before the game had even launched. And so it's really exciting to see how much the community gets involved if you just like empower them to be able to do that, and how much passion they had for the game and its message, this bright and optimistic future.
I'm sure you had a team behind you. How did they, what was that team like, and what role, how did that all work out?
Yeah, so we had, obviously we have all of our global, integrated teams within Blizzard who helped out on everything. So like, for example, with with Overwatch, when we did that at PAX East, they were able to make sure that we got influencers to come be a part of that, and take a ride in the Lamborghini with Tracer, and or a ride with 76 in the giant F650, or a ride with Diva in the little Prowler car that was decked out in her whole kit. Anything we did, there was always some piece where we were trying to get influencers involved or get cosplayers involved. So that's kind of one of the big ways that the team helped. And then obviously our global teams, they helped to integrate it across the globe so that this really felt like a truly integrated global campaign.
So transitioning a little bit, how do you think about marketing effectiveness? How would you define that?
So the thing that I think is important about, at least the way we think about it at Blizzard, is we're building a relationship with our players and with our fans that we want to be long-lasting. So we want to be really genuine and listen to them and collaborate with them. Like, if we hear on the forums of something that they're really just not liking about the game, then the developers will actually adjust for that. And I think that trust that you build is really the thing that's going to create a long-lasting relationship with your players. And I think that in the end of the day is actually good for your business too.
So you not to put words in your mouth, but you define marketing effectiveness as creating that higher level engagement with the people that play the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we want to be with them, beyond this game's launch, right? We want to be able to keep having things that interacting with them down the road with Overwatch.
So transitioning a little bit just to you, I like to talk about the marketer behind the scenes.
Okay.
Was there a moment you've reached success in your career already, and was there a moment in your life that made you who you are today?
One of the things that really sticks out in my mind right now is I worked on another campaign for Blizzard where we had commercials with Mr. T and some other celebrities.
Yeah.
And I actually didn't work at Blizzard at the time yet. I still worked at an agency. We made this commercial with Mr. T, and I was invited down to, Blizzard has these show and tells with their employees where they show all the stuff that they're working on, all the internal teams, so that one team's working on one thing, they can see what the other team's working on. And I was invited in to be there when they actually showed this commercial that we had made with Mr. T. And just to hear the reaction of everybody in the audience was just so awesome, and just to know that, these are the hardest critics. These are the guys that make the game, and they liked the commercial, and I was like, okay, I think I'm doing something right. I think that this is actually going to work.
What's your favorite part of the job besides meeting Mr. T?
Well, that was pretty awesome. That was a huge highlight. I think my favorite part of the job is just being able to tell these stories and engage with the players, being able to see how these games that we work on actually make changes in their lives, or at least enrich them in some way, and I think that's really rewarding.
Most marketers I talk to are students of the craft, right? And I wonder if there's brands that you follow or that you think other people should be taking notice of.
I follow most of the major movie studios. I follow most of the other gaming properties, sports properties. But I think, brands like Apple, brands, some of the brands that are sort of, changing things now, like Tesla or SpaceX, or I also think even just watching like companies like Progressive and Geico, like they're constantly doing things on TV, and it's interesting to see what's working and what's not. All the major CPG brands. So I watch a lot, I guess, is kind of the way I would put it, but yeah.
So I'm curious, what do you see as the most biggest opportunity for marketing today?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest opportunities is kind of one of the things I said before, is like really building this relationship with your customers, especially as the media landscape is fragmenting more and more. You're going to have trouble reaching people. So I think you have to look at this as a long-term relationship and really build that out, and not just a one-off purchase, because I feel like if you do, then they're more likely to, want to continue to interact with your brand, and be interested in the products that you come out with down the line.
What about challenges? You've talked about this fragmentation of trying to reach these people.
Yeah. Well, there's, I think a lot of the demos that we're working with are, targeting are, very young, and there's like, it depends on where you look, but it's like 40 to 60% ad blocking. There's cord cutters everywhere. It's like trying to figure out ways to reach people is becoming increasingly harder. So that's why I think you have to get creative about what you do that, gets attention and gets in front of them and builds awareness and catches their attention.
What do you predict for the future of marketing?
I don't know if I have a prediction for the future, but I think obviously it'll evolve. I think it always evolves. So I think that's that's my crystal ball, right. Which is not really all that insightful. But
do you think experience or fan engagement in your line of business, is that where do you see that going anywhere in the future?
We definitely see that, more and more you want to, and the reason I say you want to establish this relationship is because then if you have, another game down the line that you want players to try, they're more likely to try it. Overwatch was the first new IP for Blizzard in 18 years. Wow. And we had never made a shooter before. But one of the highest things, behind purchase intent was just the fact that it was a Blizzard game. So I mean, it's hard to put a value on that, So it's I think it's important to maintain that relationship and maintain that genuine relationship too.
Well, thank you for sitting down with me today.
Definitely, thank you.
Marketing Today is brought to you by Atomic. Atomic focuses on unleashing the growth potential for clients we serve. Atomic is a strategic consultancy specializing in business, marketing, brand, and innovation. Our singular goal is to help you accelerate your efforts with the right mix of expertise, analysis, and creativity. Check us out at atomic.com. ATOMCK.com. Hi, it's Alan again. Marketing Today was created and produced by me, with project management by Sarah Williams, audio production by Aaron Campbell, writing and editing by Kevin Greeley, social media support by Megan Woods, art and graphic design by Sarah Dell. If you're new to Marketing Today, please feel free to write us a review on iTunes or your favorite listening platform. Don't forget to subscribe and tell your friends and colleagues about the show. We love to hear from listeners at info@atomic, ATOMCK.com. I'm Alan Hart, and this is Marketing Today.